Song Talk Radio.
Welcome to Song Talk Radio, the show with songwriters talking to other songwriters about the craft of songwriting. We share tips, tools, and techniques, and together we all become better at writing songs. I'm your host, Neil Modi, and my usual co-host, Phil Emery, has changed his name to Jack and hit the road. Unlike the song, though, he is coming back. For the rest of us, please send your comments and questions to @SongTalk Radio on Facebook or Instagram, or feedback at songtalk.ca for the email, and we'll share your thoughts on the show. And please visit songtalk.ca to see the show post for this episode and to find links to resources we mention and to download lyric and chord sheets to follow along with the songs that we feature. Tonight, we're very happy to welcome London, Ontario-based country artist Amanda Keeles. A captivating musical journey of empowerment, self-determination, and the pursuit of lifelong dreams, country artist Amanda Keeles unveils her invigorating debut album, Can't Stop Me Now. Her rich, ribbon-like vocals come straight from her soul, sharing deeply personal narratives drawn from a songbook overflowing with a lifetime of compositions. Leaving behind a professional career in finance and a marriage that did not support her creative pursuits, Keeles waited her entire adulthood to pursue the music career she had always dreamed of having. Her emotive, expansive vocals deliver messages of empowerment, love, and cherished memories directly from lived experience. After decades of honing her craft in private, Amanda Keeles invites listeners into her remarkable world of perseverance, sharing her life's work of upbeat anthems, stadium-sized messages of empowerment, and touching ballads. Welcome to Song Talk Radio, Amanda Keeles.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Great to have you on the show, and so glad you could join us tonight. And so we're just going to get started here by taking a good listen to Amanda's song, Can't Stop Me Now. And folks, listeners, remember that the lyric sheet will be on the website, songdog.ca, so you can check that out, download the lyric sheet so you can follow along with the song and with the discussion. And here we go.
Shift ain't doing it for me. Working late to make deadlines that I will never meet. So I'm packing it up and packing it in, heading to places I've never been. No one can hold me down or tell me that I can't. My
Okay, that was Can't Stop Me Now by Amanda Keeles. Great, great track. Great song.
Thank you.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your songwriting process? Is there a typical way you write songs or?
Well, most of the songs I write are either from lived experiences or experiences I've seen other people go through or stories that I've heard. And I always tend to write through the eyes of the person that is experiencing it. I always seem to find it easier to write from an emotional side when I'm kind of looking at like the story or what's happening through the eyes of the writer. Can't Stop Me Now was really written. It was the last song that I wrote on the album.
Oh.
And it ended up being the title track and the name of the tour. But it really was the story of where I am at this point in my life, where the journey of where I am in my music. And I always say it's kind of like a personal anthem, but it could really be anybody's personal anthem. So anybody who has a passion or a desire and they have put it aside for a long time for whatever reason, and now, having the strength to make changes to go and follow that passion, that's where Can't Stop Me Now came from.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And that much is pretty clear in the song.
Yeah.
It's spelled out. There's nothing obtuse about that whatsoever.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's great. I really like the way that it sets itself up. 9 to 5 shift ain't doing it for me. You start with a little bit of the darker side, right? And before you know it, boom, boom, bum, bum.
Yeah,
It's
starts
amping up.
building.
It's amping up, and then that amazing hook of "You Can't Stop Me Now." It's just the melody just soars, and the melody in the chorus just keeps. It's a really nice flowing melody, line to line, and it just encapsulates the whole idea of the song, and it's a great chorus, absolutely. And then you go into, I wouldn't even call it half a verse, I call it a third of a verse. It's like two lines, and then you're back into the chorus because, like, why not bring us back to that hook? Like it's kind of a cool thing.
It has so much energy, right? But after I finished the first chorus, we had to swing back to something else, right? We have to swing back to a verse of some sort. But it has such a building energy to it that I felt that just a few lines would really just lead us back into that boom, 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 like that powerful drive to bring you back into Can't Stop.
Was it an original decision that verse 2 is going to be super short, or was it you wrote the 2 lines and then thought to yourself, that's that's enough, and we can just bounce back into the chorus? How does that work?
I actually wrote it that way, and I write all my songs on piano. So this song, it had that same punchy feel to it. But once I had it on piano and I brought it into the studio, of course, it comes to life when you go into a studio, and it just had so much more power behind it. But the large drum beats in it, I had said, I love that heavy drum. I love a nice rock guitar in there. And I said, if we can kind of, blend that into the song. And that's what we did. We ended up just saying, okay, what if we take a guitar solo here? Because really it was just me on piano at first. And it really came together nicely.
Yeah, for sure. And it's, I mean, a good song's a good song. It doesn't matter kind of what instrument you play it on, and they always say that a good song should stand up on its two legs. If you have one instrument, one voice, that should be enough for it to, without, any extra things. The extra things do make it more powerful and do make it more hard hitting and sonically, kind of rich and really super cool, right? But, if the bones of the song are good, you don't really need all that stuff. You just get it down.
That's true, because even some of the songs that are really fast beat on the album, including this one, you could almost turn it into a softer song on piano. So I
Hmm.
know what you say when you're saying, you know what, when you have a written song that you can transform it into, different instruments or
Hmm.
even, different tempos. That's a solid song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially a song like this that's pretty simple from a harmonic standpoint. Like it's a 1-4-5 mostly. There's the one little bit close to the end where you flip a couple of chords on their heads and then come back. But generally it's a 1-4-5 song because sometimes you can tell, or at least I can tell sometimes. If the song was written on piano or was originally written on guitar, is it a guitar song? If it's got a lot of like chromatic moves and things going just down the scale or whatever, then I guess I was probably a piano player that wrote that song, right? But with a song like this, that's a standard 1-4-5. It could have been either way. It could have been a piano song, could have been a guitar song, and it works equally well on any instrument. I think
Yeah. And another thing is that I don't read music.
Hmm.
I was taught simple chords by my mother when I was really young. And I took those, she didn't even read music. So
Hmm.
but she knew the basic chords.
Hmm.
And as I grew up, I really thought I was playing something, right, with those chords when I
Yeah.
was younger. But I tended to grow from it. And, I was about 14, I started writing songs to these simple chords. And then all of a sudden, it's just, you change the pattern of those simple chords. And all of a
Hmm.
sudden another song begins.
Yeah.
So I think we were saying before, like ZZ Top is a perfect example. They have like these three chords that they play all the time in their
Hmm.
in their music, but every song they do is a hit. It's them, but it's good.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah. Yeah.
always good, no matter what rhythm they play it in or pattern. Yeah. So
For sure. Every year on the podcast here, we do a songwriting challenge that we propose to ourselves and we propose to our listeners, and our listeners send in their answers to our challenge and stuff. And a couple of years ago, 2 3 years ago, I think now at this point, we did. We did a special theme episode where we featured a bunch of songs where the chord progression never changes. It's the same chord progression over and over and over again throughout the entire song. And then we decided that year that would be our songwriting challenge: is write a song where the chord progression doesn't change. And and it's amazing. Like for me personally, that was a good challenge for me because I haven't written a 3 chord song since I was like a teenager, right? Since I've learned my music theory, and I'm a piano player too, and I dance all over the Black Keys, and I'm going bonzo, right? And generally speaking, even a rocker song that I write is gonna have at least 5, 6, 7 different chords in it. I'll do something else for the bridge. I'll go somewhere else for the pre-chorus, and do something else for the chorus, whatever, right? But that exercise and that challenge really pushed me to recognize and to appreciate that melody is king, right?
yeah.
And like you say, if ZZ Top can get away with it, you're getting away with it. It's just three major chords. They're all in key. You're not going out of key, but the way the melody takes off in the chorus, that's the key to the song, right?
Absolutely.
It's just because you don't change, your harmonic progression does not mean you can't change a whole bunch of other things like your melody hook, your lyrical hook, the range in which you're singing can then jump up and do something different. Like there's all these different dimensions by which you introduce change in a song. And I'll be honest, my crutch is go to chords. Like okay, we go to a different chord pattern and then we got our change. Right. But this is perfectly valid. 3 chords all the way through, and with the rhythmic hits and of course the really great melody in the chorus just takes it off. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, because a lot of the time, with 3 chord songs, the struggle is, how do I make my sections different? And sometimes the chorus ends up sounding a little too versy. Because to be honest, like, you've got just as much words in your chorus than you do in your verse. Granted, you've got the repetition of "You Can't Stop Me Now," so there's no debating what the title of the song is when you're listening to it, right? But your chorus is fairly wordy. Like it's not
Yeah.
super duper simple lyrically, you know.
I came up with the chorus first. Like that was the first thing that came to me, right? And I thought, okay, now I've got the whole "Can't Stop Me Now." Well, what brought me to this "Can't Stop Me Now"? And that's where I started going, okay, if I look back and I think of all the changes that I made to get me to be able to do my music, that's where I pulled kind of like storylines.
Right.
And a lot of my songs always will have some sort of a story in it because
Mm.
I don't know, I feel like that's where a lot of emotion comes from, is when you're trying to tell a story of some sort. Do you find that too?
I'll admit that I have. I'm kind of a. I appreciate in my listening more abstract lyrics, and oftentimes, I have no idea what the song is about, but I like the melody. I like the turns of
Melody,
phrase. I like the
yes.
I like the I like the little, inferences or little suggestions of meaning and stuff like that. And it's kind of cool. And then but oftentimes, not oftentimes, but sometimes I'll go back to a song or I'll hear a song that I haven't heard in many years, and I'll actually start to pay attention to the lyric. I'm like, wow, there's actually a deeper meaning here than I recognized at first, and now it becomes more meaningful for me. That to me is the value of a more abstract lyric or metaphor driven lyric. It was like, oh, now I get it. And then
Yep.
it's kind of more rewarding, right? But at the same time, in my writing, I tend to be a little bit in the middle, a little bit abstract, a little bit more story. I was joking. I was joking last year for our songwriting challenge that I wrote my first country song ever. It doesn't sound very country, but the lyric was vulnerable enough to be a country song, right? And it's like, okay, so I've written a country song in some senses, right? Because it was very storytelling and very straight to the point.
Okay, I got to know what the hook was on that. What was the hook on your country song?
So, oh shoot, this was 2 years ago. I don't even remember it now.
I'm thinking, was it like somebody's dog died or somebody's
No,
I
no, it was
always joke the country
it
is like
was
that.
well, okay. The songwriting challenge we had that year was right from a title, and we
Ah,
solicited titles from our listeners, and we picked one, and the title we selected was "Why Do You Cry?"
okay.
Question mark was optional. Why do you cry?
Yeah.
And and I wrote the song basically about someone who might be going through a bout of depression or anxiety or something like that, and they're sharing that with somebody maybe even close to them, and the response they get is, what do you have to be depressed about? What do you have to be sad about? This is your experience isn't anything to be sad about. Why are you crying? Kind of thing. Like,
That
why do
can
you
that
cry?
can absolutely be a country song.
Right. So
Yes.
it
Yeah.
kind of came at it from that angle, and yeah, and I wrote it off of that. So anyway, but yeah, so I mean, my short answer is that I'm kind of here and there. I go
Yeah.
all over the place. But I guess for you, you ever played with writing a more abstract lyric, or like you've got an idea, an emotional idea, but then could you ever think, let's find a metaphor for that? Because once I did have this idea for a song, and I struggled a long time to find. I didn't want to say it plainly because it was kind of a more philosophical idea kind of thing, right? And I struggled a long time, and then one time I just woke up in the middle of the night and I'm like, okay, got it. I got the metaphor. Now I've got the metaphor. Now I can write the actual thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Um,
then
I haven't. So one thing I haven't done is I've done all writing on my own. So the whole
mhm,
album is just all my songs that I've written. But I think that going forward, I have a lot of people who want to write with me, and I would absolutely love that. So I think going forward, I'm going to definitely welcome that because
mhm,
this is where ideas come from, right? I can continue to write the way I'm going, but if I have other ideas come in, like you said with the metaphors, like would
mhm,
I have thought of that when I'm writing? Maybe not. But if I'm writing with someone, they
mhm,
have that, they may bring up that idea, and that song just takes a whole new course.
mhm,
So that is one thing that I'm going to definitely be open to. We're touring this year, but I am going to be open to co-writing and
mhm.
getting branching out and getting different ideas.
Yeah, and that's a great way to do it. I mean, or just signing up for songwriting challenges,
Yeah, that's
because right, because what they do, aside from them being lots of fun, and we do it with our listeners and everything, there's lots of fun. It sort of rewires your brain, like it gets you thinking. It puts you in a
right.
place of discomfort and puts you in a place that you wouldn't have gone to by default,
Right.
and deliberately gets you to think about something else. It may not result in the greatest song you've ever written, but at least it'll get you thinking about something else. And additionally, it'll add another tool to your toolbox to say, I can also write songs like this with a metaphor or without. Like I have the choice, and I can reach
Right.
for this tool, I can reach for that tool, depending on what may seem appropriate for the emotion that I'm trying to convey.
Yeah. It's a great
Right?
idea.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you know one person that I really listened to, like when I was first starting to songwrite, was a Canadian artist, Jen Arden.
Hmm.
Um, if you look back at her earlier songs, she is a fantastic songwriter.
Yeah.
And that, when I started listening to her songs, it made me actually dig deeper and looking for, like you said, the metaphors and that, it made me dig a little bit deeper into different ways of describing what I'm feeling.
Hmm.
So sometimes listening to other, like you say, listening to other songwriters, it does it did inspire me actually for one of the songs on the album was the way that she wrote and put her emotions in her songs. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's absolutely a great way to do it. Is yeah, steal from your favorites. Like they did it right already. They did it well already. So why not borrow from them? It doesn't mean you're plagiarizing them, but it's like deliberate inspiration, right? So I'm going to
Yeah,
choose to
it
be
opens your
inspired by.
mind.
Yeah, it opens your
Yeah.
mind. It's
Yeah.
all the other possibilities that are out there. So how about editing? Like, do you like when you wrote this song? Did it all come out all at once? You sitting at the piano, or did it go through a couple of
Oh, I
changes
went
here and
back and
there?
forth with this song, Neil,
Oh
for a
yeah.
while. I had the chorus and I kept singing the chorus and going, okay, I've got this, I've got that song. But it took me, I'd probably say 6 months to
Hmm.
be going back and forth between, I thought I had a verse and then I thought, no, that sounds too easy and too, so it did take me a while going back and forth with it. And like I said, that was the last song really that I finished to add to the album. And when we got into the studio, it was one of the most like power driven ones on the album. And we said, that's the title track. That's got to be the title track.
Right, right. So when you're going through those other ideas, was it, yeah, like you said, it was too easy or too cliche or too
It was exactly. It
yeah.
was like it was too, what would you say? Like it's something that you'd expect. Like, it wasn't something that you could say, oh, I've heard it before, or I had to really think, no, I have to somehow either personalize this or make it that other people can personalize it.
Yeah.
So that's when I started thinking, okay, my story isn't really different than a lot of people's that they have
Hmm.
made huge changes in their life. Maybe they left the job that they've been at for a long time. They took down their passion or their dream after putting it aside for whatever reason, whatever life presented. And I thought those are things that people are going to go, "Hey, I did that." I know exactly what she's talking about. And then it has that driving that can't stop me now. That I hope that listeners will hear it and think, yeah, I can do it. I can actually go out and do it. There's nothing stopping me.
Yeah, and you know what? Like as you're talking about, literal storytelling and not abstract, but you've actually got a good deal of imagery in this song. Like you really set the picture right at the top, 9 to 5 shifting, doing it for me, working late to make deadlines. You can see, yourself or somebody else, sitting in a cubicle, whatever. You paint the picture, right? And even in the second verse, put your dreams aside high upon a shelf, take them down, dust them off. Like, it's not, it's the intersection between, dreams and dusting. And, it doesn't literally make sense, but it paints the picture. It provides an image, which is great, right? and then of course the chorus doesn't do that, which again is a contrast point, right? So
Yeah.
you sort of paint little picture painting in the verses, and then just declare it in the
Yes.
chorus, right? What are we talking about? This is it, no doubt, right? Yeah.
Also, you can't deny what the song's called. That's really funny because it's true, right? You can't, as soon as you'll hear it, you'll be like, that song is called Can't Stop Me Now.
Yeah, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. Because it's always, I mean, there's something that my co-host Phil always says. He's the self-described title police. It's like, yeah, your song's actually not called that. It's actually called something else. His contention is that people will listen to your song and they'll call it whatever they want to call it, right? And it's up to you to give them that much choice or not give them that much choice. And sometimes
Yep.
it's a little bit fishy. And then if they really like it and they go searching for it on Spotify, they may or may not find it, given how clear the title was.
That's true. I've done that many times. I'm like, where the heck is that song that I
What was
just
yeah, what was that I just heard? What was it called? I don't know. I couldn't pick out a title. Right. So, that being said, if you search the artist, then you'll probably find it.
Yeah, you'll find it. You'll find it.
Yeah, yeah. So what about the rest of the album? Is it are the songs kind of in a similar vein? Like your bio says, like all sort of positive, empowering. That's the other thing about this song is that it's incredibly positive. Like by the time you get through the first two lines, you're like done with the negative and we're into the
So
positive.
this is probably the go-getter song off the album. We do have some really upbeat other songs, Playing It Cool and His Perception, but I also do have some piano instrumental slow songs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, from just different periods where, things happened in my life. And I always say that sometimes these songs that I've written, I don't know if you call it therapy, but for
Sure.
songwriters, when they go through something, sometimes when they put it down on paper, it makes sense or it comes more clear,
Yeah.
right? When you can kind of express your feelings somehow. So I had written it down on paper, but every song on the album, Neil, is going to sound so different because
Mhm.
it comes from so many different influences. So, my mom was classic country, like
Mhm.
as classic country as you can get is what my mom was. So that was what I was first introduced to. And then I went through a pop phase myself, in my teens, and then classic rock came in from my brothers.
Mhm.
And then I started loving classic rock.
Mhm.
So when you hear each song, they're going to sound so different than the other.
Yeah.
And sometimes you hear an artist and it's like every song you can tell that it's that artist, but
Mhm.
each one is very different. And that's because of over the years, because I've written these songs over 2 decades, that the music influence that I've experienced through the time that I wrote it is different every song.
So these little piano instrumental things, are they like little interstitial, like short bits in between the songs, or are they bona fide songs in and of themselves?
They are songs of themselves. So I
Yeah.
wrote it on piano with a lot of. So I told you about those chords, those simple chords that I was taught, and how I blended them up into majors and minors. Like when I started playing with it, it became natural.
Hmm.
So the one song called "I Don't Care" is the piano instrumental one, and um, when I brought it into the studio, they were like, don't change it. Don't change it. And when you go on your tour and you play it, you and piano for that moment. And
Yeah.
that's what we do. We do.
Cool.
It's a high energy show, but when
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
comes to that song, we slow it down and it's just me on piano.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
singing it.
super cool.
So, yeah.
That's
So
really
it's
that's
almost
really
like
different.
it's different genres. Like I am a country artist, but when you hear the songs, they could almost like country can cross over to anything these days.
Of
But you
course.
can you can kind of hear that, okay, that could be almost on an easy listening station, or that could be it could be on an adult contemporary station, that could be on a pop. Like you could place them on all different.
Hmm.
Although country radio, as we start to put these singles out over the next year and a half, They may love it, depending what country is liking at the time.
Yeah, yeah, true that. And like we were saying before, like a good song is a good song. I kind of dispensed with genre a long time ago. Had a a moment of horrifying experience when I walked into an HMV record store in my 20s, I think. I was looking for the new Sarah McLachlan. So I was hearing Sarah McLachlan on the radio. And I was really loving Sarah McLachlan, right? And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm looking for the new Sarah. I didn't see it at the front of the stores. I'm like, it's got to be on the charts. Like, why is it not in the front of the store? So I went up and looked through the pop and rock section, and I couldn't find her CD. And I was like, what is going on here? This is a brand new album, and I can't find it. So finally, I asked an employee, and the dude was like, "Oh, Sarah McLachlan, yeah, she's under adult contemporary." Like, I was horrified for a moment. I was like, "What? I'm listening to adult contemporary? I'm like 23 years old, right? Like, I'm listening to adult contemporary? No, no." I'm like, at that point, I just decided they can call it whatever they call it. I think she's great.
It's just good
That's it.
music.
It's just
That's
good music.
right. That's
I've
right.
got two buckets: music I like and music I don't. That's
Yeah,
it.
that's right. That's right. Sarah McLachlan, though, there's an example of just unique, right? Just unique sound. Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and her songs, I mean, they lyrically they're really kind of rich to me. Like they're about something. Sometimes it's not entirely clear what it is, but it's just beautiful melodies and beautiful images and things. And then again, you dig a little deeper, and it's like, oh, okay, now I get what trauma you were coming through.
Yeah, like Sweet Surrender, I have to
Yeah.
be honest, I had to go and look up the lyrics because I was like, I had to kind of go, wait a minute, like, is she saying this? Or is it this? But once I read the lyrics, I'm like, that's brilliant. Brilliant songwriting.
You ever visit songmeanings.com?
No.
Songmeanings.com is a very cool website. This is the one website where you actually want to read the comments, right?
Okay.
So people post up the lyric for a song,
Yeah.
and then other people underneath it will comment on what they think the song is really about, quote unquote. And someone will come and say, well, I heard this I heard Sarah McLachlan talking on an interview, and she said it's about this, and and then they start dissecting the lyrics and giving their different interpretations and
And
things.
everybody interprets it different.
And everyone interprets it different depending on the song, right? But
Right.
but it's a very neat little website. I haven't visited it in a while, but I'm sure it's still out there.
I'm going to look that up.
Songmeanings.com. It's a great little fun thing. Yeah, that's fantastic. How many tracks on your album then?
I have 9 tracks.
9
So
tracks.
it's, yep. And the final song is My Heart Feels the Same Way Too. So I released that. That was the second single I released last year. And the one that just got picked up everywhere. People just, I don't know if it had that because it had kind of a pop country to it, right? And it was just what everybody had been listening to, like for radio. But that one did really well. So we ended up keeping the acoustic guitar version of it. I wrote it on piano, and I had an acoustic guitar player play it with me to send in the demo. And the producer said, put that on the album. Put that as the bonus track on the album, because the song itself that hit radio is all radio friendly, right? It's got all the bells and whistles, but the stripped down version of acoustic guitar in that song is really nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, like you say, a lot of different styles on there. Eh?
Yeah.
And did you release the album as an album right off the bat, or did you go single, and then the album at the end of it? How did you do that? Yeah, it seems like everyone artist is doing things differently these days in terms of releasing
So
stuff.
I did 3 singles last year I put out, and then I released Can't Stop Me Now mid-February. It went off to radio, and because we were on tour, we released the album. So there are a lot of artists that will wait quite a while before they do an album, just to get their music out there, to get their name out a little bit more. But we we figured we're going to do the tour around Can't Stop Me Now, and that is the title track to the album. Why not release the album? It's available out there for anyone to listen, but there are songs one by one that are going to be introduced to radio. So by the time they're introduced to radio, listeners will have had a chance to hear it. And so when it does come on the radio, they're like, I know that song, right? It's not going to be a brand new production.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, that seems to be the way people are doing it these days. Like a few singles and then the full thing. If anyone's even doing albums anymore, I get the impression sometimes that people
sometimes they just do singles.
Yeah, sometimes just singles, which is perfectly valid. I mean, why not? I mean, unless you're conceiving of a concept album of some kind where it's sort of songs are tied together thematically or somehow, then you can warrant it. But other than that, I don't know. I mean, my Spotify is usually on shuffle play anyway.
That's true. No, me too.
Most of the time. Very cool. All right. I'm here in the band, so that is about all the time we have on Song Talk Radio. Special thanks to Amanda Keeles. So where can our listeners find out more about you and your music?
They can find me on my website, amandakeeles.com, my Facebook, Amanda Keeles Music. Find me on Instagram, Amanda Keeles.
Spell Keeles for us, please.
Keeles. Keeles.
Okay.
Yeah, and Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, Apple Music. It's out there on all the platforms.
Awesome, great. Okay, and we will put a link to your website certainly on our website, songtalk.ca, for the show post for this episode. And of course, we want to hear from you too. So please send your comments on Facebook or Instagram to @songtalkradio, or send us an email, feedback@songtalk.ca. Be sure to check out the YouTube channel for live performance videos and full episodes, and subscribe today to the Song Talk Radio podcast on your favorite podcast provider. You can find links to all the products, books, and web services we mention on the show at our resources page on the website. And please join us at our next monthly Song Talk meetup, whether you're in Toronto for our in-person meetups or anywhere in the world for our online meetups. It's free to join on meetup.com and free to attend. Bring a song and a lyric sheet and get constructive feedback from other songwriters. Stop by songtalk.ca for the link. You can follow me at neilmodi.com. If Phil were here, he would say you can follow him at philemery.ca. And Amanda, what's your favorite social media channel? Where do you post the most?
Through Facebook and Instagram.
Facebook and Instagram. Awesome.
I have to, my TikTok. I got a TikTok more, Neil.
Oh boy, all the TikToks. All right, and be sure to stop by the website, songtalk.ca, to browse past shows and find out how you can be a guest. Thanks for tuning in, and keep on writing.
Oh, that was fun.
That was great.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to have you. You really you talk very well about your songs. This is a perfect guest.
Oh, good. Oh, I'm glad. And being because I don't read music, I'm like, but
Hardly anybody does.
Yeah. Well, no, you know what? The people that do learn to read music, most of the times they end up just playing, right? They don't even read music most of the time. So unless they are writing the music, you know what I mean? Like the note by note, but I don't know. What do you do when you write?
I usually start with lyric lately. I'll have like a Google Doc going on my phone, on my computer, whatever, and try to parse something. When I got somewhat of a lyric, then I'll sit down on my piano and try to hash out melody, chords, whatever. And then, but that's really, and like when I write music, like I know my dots and flags. I know all the every good boy deserves fudge and all that business, right? I know how to read music.
Yep.
I haven't done that in a long time. You know what I mean? Like it just doesn't come up anymore. The closest I get is when I'm recording in my home studio. They have a piano roll view where the piano, and then you put the notes in MIDI along in there, so you're playing. You can see the notes as it were.
Okay.
Up against a piano sort of thing, relates to a piano keyboard. But that's about as close as I get to really doing that. I was working with a classically based singer, like an opera singer, a few years ago, and and when I was asking her to sing on one of my tracks, and I gave her sheet music, like I literally, wrote out the melody, then not with pen and paper. I
Wow.
did it on the computer, but I played in the melody on my keyboard, basically. Wrote the lyrics on the sheet music program thing, and then printed it out and handed it to her. And it's like, this is what I need you to do, because I know she reads music. It's what she does, all the time.
That's how
So
she does it.
she
Yeah.
does it. So we look at that. Okay, I can sing this, sure.
I went in the studio and they're like, okay, they're drawing lines. I don't know, like the tab, I don't know, it's called tabs or something.
Yeah,
I
tablature for guitar, really. That's
Yeah,
for the
they're
guitar
like do
thing.
do do, and then you do, and then they handed it out, and they all went and did it, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't even know what that means,
yeah, yeah,
but they all were like right on time with it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
everybody's got their own way of doing it, I guess.
There's a program. Those are called lead sheets, and there's a program every summer in here in Toronto called Song Studio. If you look up songstudio.ca, you'll find it. A couple of the people that have been in our podcast, Blair Packham and Alistair Bradley, they're both well-established songwriters in the community, and they basically run this thing along with Rick Emmett. He was the guitarist for
Oh,
Triumph.
yes,
So he's
yes.
involved. They had Stephen Page there a few years ago. They got all these instructors. Ron Sexsmith, I think, has dropped by there sometimes. So it's basically like a songwriting camp for 1 week. And I haven't been to it. I know many people who have, and they love it. But the one thing they do is at the end of the week they put together a student showcase. And the student showcase is whatever song you wrote that week, you get up on stage with Rick Emmett and a bunch of other like top shelf
Oh my
studio
gosh.
musicians, and you hand them your lead sheet. So you hand them the lyrics with the chords. There might be an indication of tempo equals whatever, 108 BPM or whatever,
Yeah.
and with all the lines and all that sort of stuff. And again, that's one of the workshops they teach you is how to write a proper lead sheet, right? And you hand it to these guys, and they'll play along with your song, having never heard it before. So you literally start strumming the first few chords on your guitar. By the time you're into one line of the verse, the band is in. They know exactly what they're doing. They know where the changes are because of the lead sheet, and they're all good, right?
Wow. What is
So
that
as
called?
Song
The
Studio,
Song Studio.
Song
Okay.
Studio, yeah,
I'll look it up. And
yeah,
they
yeah,
still do
definitely.
that like once a year?
They still do it once a year. Over the pandemic, of course, they did it over Zoom, but they've resumed, I think, last year, doing it in person. I think it's downtown Toronto. It's like Royal Conservatory building,
Okay.
right? And people from all over the place. They get a whole batch of people from England who come like every year,
Wow. And you
and
don't
go do
have
the
to
same.
be technically taught or no.
No,
Okay.
apparently people go there with all different skill levels and all different knowledge bases and whatever, and they go through all sorts of different workshops and things with you, and there's an open mic every night and that sort of thing. Like if you check
Wow,
it out,
that's interesting.
yeah, it's usually in
Check
the
that out.
summer. It's usually in summer, so it is coming up soon in the next few months, like July, August, something like that. But yeah, everyone I've known who's done it has loved it. It's a
Yeah.
really, 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 really fantastic
I'm gonna look it up.
time.
I better write it down. What is it again?
Song Studio.
Song Studio. Okay.
Yeah. If you put your email in the chat, I can send you a note with all these things.
Okay. That'd be great. I'd
Yeah,
love
yeah,
to take part in
yeah,
that.
yeah, for sure. And
Uh,
also, I would encourage you to come to our meetup group.
okay.
Yeah, because this month it's going to be on Zoom. Yeah, this month it's on Zoom. We alternate every month. We have it at the Transact Club in Toronto every other month, and then every other month we have it on Zoom because obviously over the pandemic we had to go on Zoom, and we connected with all these songwriters in other communities. In Seattle, we connected with a group there. We connected with these great people from Minnesota, from Boston, it's all over the place, right? So we decided to keep the meetup as a hybrid thing where we do it on Zoom every once in a while. So if you're in London or somewhere and don't feel like coming to Toronto, you can join in
It's,
over Zoom. And that meetup basically is like if you want to volunteer a song, you sign up at the beginning, sort of thing. In real life, you sign your name on the page, whatever. and you show your song on Zoom. Typically, it's recording, so people will play back a recording off their SoundCloud or something like that. But in the in-person version at the Transact, we get more
play
live
it live.
performances. Yeah, a lot of people perform live. Even there, you're welcome to plug in your phone, iPod, whatever, and play a song, like a recording of a song, because maybe someone else sang on it or whatever. Like, we're open to anything, right? And
Yeah.
then the group opens up to feedback, and we give each other constructive feedback on each other's songs.
Oh,
And
that's
it's,
neat.
yeah, and it's very like nobody there cares about your song will never make it on the radio. We don't care about that. We just care about, did you accomplish what you set out to accomplish? Is your song
Does it make
working the way?
sense?
Does it make sense? Does it flow? Does it work the way you intended it to work? Because there's always a thing where, you may like it or you may not like it, but then there's a different question of, can you assess properly or well if the artist achieved what they were trying to achieve?
Yeah.
If they're achieving a sung through song where no section repeats ever, and that's what they intended to do, then sure, go for it. That's your thing, right? You do you, right?
Sure, there's a song out there that does that.
Yeah.
And you know what? You'll play a song for family and friends, and they will never criticize. They will always say, that was a great song.
Yeah.
That's a great, you should record that. Nobody will ever, that's close to you, will ever say, I think you could change it. I think you could make it, right? So it's nice to have sometimes strangers, like with,
essentially,
right? That'll be honest with you.
Yeah. And that's the thing that we say at the meetup too all the time. It's like, in any feedback you get from somebody else, it's their opinion, number one. It's not like what, like I'm hosting the thing. What I say is not gold. It's not Bible truth, like whatever, right? But the great thing about songwriting is you can make a note for yourself. Okay, they suggested I try this. Fine. I'll go back home. I'll try it. If I don't like it, just go back to what I had before. It's not going to cost you anything.
Yeah.
Right? Just to give it a try. Either I like it or I don't like it.
But it just may make that song 10 times better. Right?
It might be the thing. One time I went to the meetup with a song that I thought was pretty well finished, and then someone pointed out, well, this one lyric you put that word in just because it rhymed. I'm like, yeah, I know, it wasn't great. And then they said you should use this word instead. It still rhymes, but it puts more meaning. And I was like, why didn't I think of that in the first place? It was one word, and then it was perfect, right? And sometimes you just go in with that, and someone will just be like, it will state something that's so blatantly obvious to them, but you never even thought of.
Do you sometimes I go, like, I have to rhyme a word and I just cannot come to me. So I'm going on the internet and finding anything that rhymes with that word. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I go right over it and I just cannot see it. And then all of a sudden it'll come to me. And I'll be like, I'm sure that I saw it, and it didn't click.
It just didn't click. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not in the right headspace.
That has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you sit down and I'm at the piano and I'm like, why isn't anything coming to me? Like nothing. There's nothing coming to me. And then all of a sudden, a week later, I've got ideas. Just click, click, click. It's
nice.
A headspace, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Totally. All right. Good. Okay, I'm going to copy your email because I don't know if I get a copy of this chat at the end, just in case. Okay. And I'll shoot you a note, and I'll send you a link to our meetup and to Song Talk or to Song Studio.
No, that'd be great. And do you have songs on Spotify too? Then
I have one EP on Spotify. It's super weird. I did one EP in 2020 on I'm turning a progressive electro pop.
Oh.
So it's electro pop, and it's kind of strange, but it's a lot of fun. I think it's a lot of fun.
I would love to hear it though. Send me the name of it.
Sure. Yeah. I'll send you a link to that. And other than that,
I love
I've got
all types of music.
Sure. And I'm like you. I'm all over the place. I'm a piano player, so I write piano ballads, but I also write guitar songs because I got pretty good software that emulates guitars. I do everything at home. And so I'll write ballads. I'll write rocker songs. I'm in an indie folk rock band, so sometimes I'll write a song and be like, "This would be a good song for the band." Let my lead singer sing it because I'm not a strong singer. Like, hand it to him. Right. So
Do
that's
you like,
always a good
so
way.
if you, since you're a piano player, but the song I Don't Care, that I wrote, it is very piano. Like I didn't play it myself. I played it, but then I had a fantastic piano player come in.
Oh,
He
wow.
was CCMA winner, and
Okay.
he beautiful, beautiful piano in it. So have
Wow.
a listen to that, see what you think. It's not
Cool, cool.
techno
Yeah.
electric by any means, but it's soft. It's a softer song, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's a sad song. But yeah, you might like the piano in it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I love piano-based music. I love, but but to me, it never has to be super complicated. If it's got a nice melody and something memorable in it, then I'm good to go.
Yeah.
You know, I've written a couple of solo piano pieces, and one of them was just I was trying to be like super minimalist and dissonant and dark and everything, and it's kind of cool. But yeah, don't do that very often. Don't do that very often anymore.
There's an audience for everyone, I say.
I
There's
suppose.
an audience for everything that you do and write. There's someone out there who's gonna like it somewhere. It's
I've,
that's
I've,
what I
I've, I- I've been told that some of my songs are in the nerdcore genre.
What
Like,
is that? What is that?
I don't know, but there is a Wikipedia page on it. There is a
Really?
yeah, a nerdcore. I mean, the proper nerdcore music is if you're making like Star Trek references and things. And
If there is a genre name for it, that means there's a ton of people out there
yeah,
who created this genre.
yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah, yeah. And my electropop EP is verging on nerdcore. I think it is kind of nerdy.
I'll have a listen.
It's
I'll have a
kind of
listen.
nerdy.
Just
Yeah.
send me the name of it, and I'll have
Sure,
a
sure.
look.
Yeah, I'll send you a link to that, and happy to hear what you think of it. Cool. All right. Well, great chatting with you, Amanda. And
Yeah, it's good chatting with you.
yeah, and I'll give you a heads up when the podcast is posted. You can share it with all your peeps and all your fans, and let them know, and
Yeah, absolutely I will.
let your contemporaries know about us. And if they want to be on the show, they're welcome to come on by and do a little thing, and we can have more country.
Okay. Okay, I will
That'd be a good thing.
definitely. I will definitely mention it.
All right. Great.
Okay.
Okay. Well, have a great night, and yeah, we'll be in touch.
Okay, sounds good. See you later.
Okay. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye bye.